Well, thank you everybody for joining us for this Learn at Lunch mini-series, a partnership with First Year Experience Office and Bruin Tech, specifically the Humanities division. We have an amazing presenter today to discuss digital citizenship with us, Adrian. Adrian, did you want to add anything?
No, just that I work with Humtech as a technology analyst, and I'm very excited to be here today. So thank you for having me.
Thank you so much again. And I wanted to say that for UCLA, we always want to make sure that we acknowledge our presence on traditional and excuse me, ancestral unceded territory, specifically of the Tonga people. And we always want to make sure that we acknowledge that even if we're not physically present on campus, virtually or digitally, we are here, and this is the land that our campus actually does sit on in a lot of our programs and things take place. We can go ahead and move forward and get started. And thank you so much again for coming.
Yeah, so thank you for that, Hillary. So today is about digital citizenship and what that is. And basically in today's world of being online, we're all digital citizens, whether we know it or not. So it's good to have an awareness of what it means to be one and how to conduct yourself online. So we'll go ahead and dive right in. And first off, I want to start by explaining what a digital citizenship is. And it refers to the responsible use of technology by anyone who uses computers, the internet, and digital devices to engage with society at any level. An example of that is we're teaching students how to become good digital citizens. And another word that's important to know is digital footprint. And that is one's overall impact, impression, or effect as manifested on the internet. An example of that is a celebrity with large digital footprint. So like Kim Kardashian, she has a large digital footprint. Anyone knows that, but we all have one as well. So whether you know it or not, maybe you were in an article one day, maybe you did something important for your city. If you look up your name, it might be on there. Your footprint's kind of on there forever. So be mindful of what it is that's online for you. And why does this matter? Well, this matters because this can affect a lot of things in your life. It can affect your professional career growth and whether like internships as well, or even in your personal life. Like people do look up who you are. It matters who you are online, and that's why it's important to know this. And as the technology continues to increase, or the use of technology increases, the world is becoming more dependent on the internet. Anything from checking a bank account, purchasing a product, or simply keeping in touch with a friend, it all uses online. And there's a major difference between a good digital citizen and a bad digital citizen. So I'm going to go over what that means. So what concept does the good digital citizen include? And the first one is empathy. This is the ability to understand and share the feelings of another person. And this is important because the internet heavily relies on text-based communication, and it's kind of impossible to hear someone's vocal tone or facial expressions. And examples of this could be using your pronouns on Zoom, not talking with others speaking, or etc. Especially like since we're all online in the classroom setting, speaking with each other on boards, you have to be really mindful of how the other person's feeling. And a good rule of thumb for me is like, imagine if your mom was looking over your shoulder, would she like whatever you're typing or whatever you're recording, and use that, because it's hard sometimes to know what someone else is feeling when we're online and you just want to express yourself. But really be mindful of, before you put something on there, ask yourself, is this really okay for the other person to read? Or, you know, if my mom was standing over my shoulder, would that be okay? And that might help you because while you can delete things, screenshots are forever. So you want to make sure that you don't get caught using something that would hurt someone's feelings and otherwise present you as a different person than you really are. And sometimes with keyboard warriors and all that, sometimes people talk from a place of anger, and that can really manifest into something that you don't really mean at the time, but it just happens. So be careful with that. And empathy is a good way to go around that. Another thing that's important is understanding user data. And that's just about every company with a website collects data on the people who visit it. And a digital footprint, like we talked about earlier, is a mark on someone's web browser that lives on the internet. And whenever you go to any website, you're being tracked by the software that sees your digital footprint. And some organizations like Facebook and Google might even track your internet behavior outside of the websites. So have you ever seen the movie The Social Dilemma? It's a really good one on Netflix right now. I would recommend you highly watching it. It talks about how these big tech corporations use your data. And the biggest thing is awareness, to have awareness of how they're using your data and how they can manipulate you to go on certain sites, to go on certain ads. They know what you're doing, they know how you're doing, so they know what to target at you and how to keep you engaged. And that's how they make their money, is through we're their users. And so the data is the only thing that they have on us. And we all have user data on anything we do online. It's so big now that they have libraries about us. They know more about us than our family members do. So it's kind of crazy, but there's no way going around it. The biggest thing is just being mindful of how they're using your user data, how they're tracking it, and being sure to not fall for their tricks. So being smarter than them in a way would allow you to not fall for any kind of schemes that they have with our data. And there's no going around it. We have to use their data. That's the only way that we can do it. And it's free for a reason, because they're making money off of us. So we're the money makers for them. Just keep that in mind. Another concept is practicing digital uh, literacy. Sorry. So this refers to a clickbait and refers to anyone that has a headline, video title, or someone that's deliberately written to pique someone's interest and gain them to click. An example of this could be like, let's say someone says there's a shark at UCLA, but really what it is like someone dressed in a shark costume. So that could be the article that was written, and it's going to have that as a clickbait title to get you to write on it, when in reality, it's just someone that was in the shark costume. So always be mindful of what they're going to do. Sometimes they might do that to get you on that website or article, and just be careful with that, especially because you're not sure what that website might have. It might have sometimes like cookies on there to track you, or viruses sometimes if it's a malicious site. And also fake news. And this is a relatively new phenomenon in 2019, really in 2016 when it started with the elections, but it refers to any media outlet publishing severely biased or intentional false information. And this has been growing, and sadly, people still fall for it. So if you see something on Facebook that your Uncle Tom shared, it might not be the best way of getting your news. You want to get it from an actual news source. And even then, sometimes real news sources will do fake news just to get us to go with whatever intention they have. And another one that affects UCLA is phishing. And that's a fraudulent attempt to obtain sensitive information such as data, usernames, passwords, or credit card details. And sadly, this affects my department sometimes, or people I've seen it, they'll try to phish, and they'll pretend to be someone that they're not. And they're getting really good at it, and they keep doing it because sadly people do fall for it. So that's something that you have to be very careful of, and they're really good at it. They'll impersonate someone's name and pretend to be them and say like, hey, I really need to talk to you right now. A lot of times is they want you to buy gift cards. So they want you to spend $100 on gift cards, and we can't have no way of tracking them because they're using a fake email address that they'll close out. And if they do get money, so you won't really want to be careful with this. They can get anything though. They can get your address, social security number, credit card info. They're getting really good at this. So the only way to be better at that is by having that awareness of being mindful of who it is you're talking to, double check the email address. And if you're ever unsure, ask the person. Practicing digital wellness, this is an important one too, because it's basically knowing when to take breaks from a screen, and also setting time limits on apps. Monitoring your internet usage. You can do this with an iPhone. I'm not sure if Android has this, but you can do both of them. You can set limits on social media apps. You can monitor your internet usage, see what apps you're using. It's a very good feature of it. I use it personally, and I kind of see my screen time from week to week. I'll set limits on social media apps, and that kind of helps you be more aware and mindful of how you're using your device, and kind of seeing how much time you're spending on it. A lot of times we don't know. Hours can turn into hours really fast when you're online. And the biggest thing for me is just being mindful of how you feel when you're online. Whether like if you're on Facebook and you're scrolling through it and you feel angry because whatever's being posted on there, and you don't want to feel this anger all the time. This is going to be not good for you. It's going to cause you to have stress, and going to cause you to be in a fight or flight mode and not to want to be online. And also it could cause you to become a keyboard warrior yourself, where you want to fight back. And so what you can do is notice how you're feeling when you're online. Notice your emotions, your feelings, your thoughts, and you can change that. You can either not be on the website, or you can unfollow certain people. You can block people. You can mute people. You don't have to be controlled by what it is you're consuming. You have every right to change what content you're consuming, and to maybe, instead of following those negative pages, follow positive pages, follow academic pages, follow things that are going to be beneficial to your mental health. So that's a big thing, because from my own experience, I had to really take a look at what I was consuming online. I had to unfollow a lot of pages and mute people and follow people too. And then once I changed all of that, and I started following like really motivational, mindful, and things that were really serving me, my whole mentality changed. And now when I go online, I get inspired, or I learn things, or I hear songs or things that really keep me in a better mood than before, where I was always upset and always mad and just angry at the world. So that can really mess with your mental health. And now I'll go over some inappropriate behavior online. Pretty common sense, but it still happens every day. Online bullying, that's a big no-no. You shouldn't be doing that in person, or you shouldn't be doing it online. Inappropriate comments, racially or sexually oriented, that goes without saying. Uploading inappropriate material, adult, illegal, or antisocial. Accessing inappropriate sites, antisocial, illegal behavior, adult content, and breaching copyright laws. All of these things have a footprint. So if you're accessing these sites or posting these things, it can go back to you, your IP address. It can go to where you're at, where you're accessing it from. So you're doing illegal activity, you can and will get prosecuted and caught, and you don't want to be that person that gets kicked out of school because they were doing things. Especially if you're at UCLA, you're using our internet, so you definitely do not want to do that. Like if you're downloading illegal, data, they can find that and they will cite you for it, and they will, do what they need to do for that. So you definitely don't want to get caught doing that. You don't want to ruin your whole academic career because of something that you're doing online. It's just not worth it. So don't even do it. And especially with like posting inappropriate comments or online bullying, those are things that, like I said earlier, screenshots are forever. And just because you delete something doesn't mean that's always there. Like, we have examples of celebrities that they're being like, their Twitter goes back. People have time. That's the big thing about it now, is that people have a lot of time. So they can go back 10 years into someone's profile and be like, oh wow, this guy said something really inappropriate 10 years ago. And back then it was okay, but now it's not, because we're in a different time period. But because of what they said 10 years ago, they're still being put on front, and that's with every right. You should have not said that 10 years ago. You should not said that now. So really be careful of what it is you're posting online. Know that maybe you shouldn't tweet all your thoughts, feelings, and emotions or posting things, especially now that we have a lot of vlogging going on in YouTube and Instagram videos. Those things can be recorded and posted online forever. So be careful when you're sharing your expressions and your emotions, and definitely no hate stuff, no keyboard warrior things. It can haunt you for the rest of your life. And why does this matter? Why does any of this matter? And that's kind of like what I was saying earlier, is that this can affect your career, it can affect internships, it could affect organizations that look into you, because even employers, like when I hire work study students, I also look through their kind of see what I can find online, only because yes, somebody tells you in the interview who they are, but online will really tell you who they are, because they can't hide that. If you see some activity that you think it's not aligned with the organization or with who they said they were, it's going to come up. And that's really important, because you want to know who this person is. If you're hiring this person to work with your organization, you want to know that they are the person that they say who they are, and that you don't end up finding out some secrets later on, because that's going to be bad on you as a hiring person. And also, like, you have to look for somebody else, all that time for training. You really want someone that's ethical and aligned with your values. And that's how we do it. Like, you can call references, but going online is the best way of doing it. And it's free, and you can do it really fast. So that's something that can affect your professional life and also your personal life too. Like, maybe when you have a friend or when you're dating or something like that, you want to know who this person is. If you're going to be in a serious relationship with this person, you want to know who they are, who they say they are. So, I mean, everyone should look up who they're dating, because that's like a big thing, especially you want to be careful. So you want to look up things, and it's something that's under that is very like, red flags. You're going to want to know, and you're going to want to tell this person like what's going on. And, that can affect you too. So, and also like with family, it can affect every aspect of your life. So definitely be mindful and be aware of how your activities are online, what you're doing, and all, like, especially in today's world right now, currently where we are currently online and with COVID. And I think that's the way things are going to go with more companies going remote and more remote learning possibly. So we have to really know how to be the best citizens we can on this internet platform, which is kind of like the wild wild west, but it doesn't have to be that way. And you can use the internet for your productivity, to grow, to learn. The biggest thing that I've done is to connect with others, to meet others that have similar interests. And that's really beautiful because then you get to foster relationships and kind of network, and that is really helpful. So you can use sites like LinkedIn to build your professional portfolio and network through that way. But if people are looking for you and they find red flags, all that stuff, they're not going to want to do any business with you or even be your friend, honestly. So it matters a lot, and it's a big thing that people didn't care about before, but now it's coming more to surface level of, we're calling people out in this today's world where if you're really, being online and performing in a certain way, like people are going to call you out. I've seen a lot, especially with now things going on where people will send screenshots to employers of somebody being racist or something. Happens very common nowadays. People have gotten fired. People are out looking for people that are doing this, and they're screenshotting it, sending it to employers on Monday, pink slip. And within reason, you don't want to work with someone that's racist, and who you are online is who you really are. So that shows a lot about someone. So definitely, I mean, that's a very extreme case, but it's out there and people are aware of it. People are doing their due diligence, and people are, like I said earlier, and they have a lot of time. So they will find out where you work, where you live, all this, like they can find out everything by your geotags or, by looking you up or anything. So you don't want to be in any of that. So don't engage with that kind of activity. Don't be that kind of person. Even if you try to be secretive, people have ways of finding it out. And this is not to scare you. I'm not trying to scare anyone. I'm just trying to bring that awareness of how serious this is and how it can impact your life. And on the flip side of that, if you're somebody that's posting good things online, producing good content, if you have a good internet presence, that's going to be really good for you. If you're someone that has a blog or has a website or has something that is really portrays who you are, and it can really, if someone looks on there that, wow, this person is, a philanthropist, or this person has done this or that, that's going to be really good for you. So you can also have a good digital footprint, and you can strive to do that. And that's going to be the best reference letter, I think, is kind of that, having that kind of a footprint on there. So that was it for that. I had a breakout activity, but because there's not many people online, we're going to forego that. And I can now go to any questions if anyone has any.
I just want to first say thank you because I got so many good nuggets from the presentation. But specifically, the one that I'm catching is about being able to project yourself in a very positive light, in a very intentional manner. Because I think quite often, students, professionals alike don't realize or accept the fact that that content that you're posting is permanent. And I don't know how much we can hone in on the fact that like it is evergreen content, whether you post it and delete it, requested it to be deleted. But even as a hiring manager myself, I know like people do look at social media and it does have so much of an impact on your career. So I just wanted to make more of a comment than a question and just say thank you for sharing that because it's so important. And people do not realize that over, like you said, over that period of time, like that timeline, you can see someone's growth and progression, but everybody is not looking back to see the growth and progression, and you're held accountable for it. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you for that. Really good insight. You're right. Yeah, I didn't think about the growth and progression part. I had done that before, where like I look at someone 10 years ago, I'm like, wow, they really changed, and I'm like really proud of them. I'm glad I'm not the only one. Cool.
I actually had a question, Adrian.
Yeah.
My name's Annalie. I was curious about if you've come across anything to do with citizenship that crosses into how we as citizens behave and the impact on the environment, because the devices and the connectivity that we the content that we access, that are running on servers and in data centers, and the power and the resources that is being used to make all of this possible. Do you know if there are any, I don't know, is there any guidance for someone to say, you know, in addition to kind of limiting your screen time for wellness sake, also for the environment's sake, like cut down on the amount of power you use, or kind of reduce your environmental footprint when it comes to being a digital citizen? Have you heard anything along those lines?
So in regards to power, I think because, I mean, it depends. Like if we're all using our phones and laptops, that's all battery. But thanks for bringing that up because it does affect, you know, now we're such a consumer age where people are buying the newest devices as soon as they come out. And even if they're only a year old, and even if you know they're still good, they're still buying it. So that overconsumption does have an effect because these batteries are not good for the environment or even just the producing of it, all of this stuff. So really, it's just maximizing your time with your devices and using it to its fullest potential. They're made to be longer than a year. So you don't need every newest feature of the latest iPhone or you know the MacBook. They can last longer than how we I've seen people that just upgrade every single year. And if everyone does that, that's really bad for the environment. That's you know that's not sustainable long term. So I would definitely recommend just for anyone for in terms of being green is using our devices longer.
I think it's good to inform ourselves about how much, you know, where the sites that we access are also, you know, the consumption that they're using out in the world. You know, the giant data centers and all of that. You know, it's good to read up on that kind of stuff because that's hidden and we don't see it. It's invisible to us.
You're right. Yeah.
You know, and I don't actually know how to do that, but that would be a good thing to point people to if we can find it.
Yeah, I think with like a lot, luckily we're going to cloud-based computing. So it's not as bad as before we have large data centers. But yeah, that's definitely something to be mindful of where I know Google does a really good job and so does Amazon, but I don't know about the other companies. And maybe everyone's under their umbrella, who knows? Yeah, thank you for bringing that up, Molly. Good insight. Any more questions? Nope. Oh, but someone's entering. It's about to be finished. Hello to the person I just entered. We're actually just finishing up right now, so I'm going to stop the recording. Thank you all for listening, and I hope you guys got some good value from this.
Thank you.